Have you ever felt like your illness or condition was too hard for a health practitioner to handle? Have you ever felt like your diagnosis was a life sentence, haunting you wherever you go and invisible to those around you? Have you ever wished you just didn't have your autoimmune disease or chronic illness, or even just the body that you have? If so, you are like many of our clients that we have worked with. And honestly, I get it. I've been there. I've also asked God why I had the body I did, what I did wrong to get here, or why I couldn't have had a body like someone else. Yet, along the pathway to my internal healing, I have found that having a chronic illness or autoimmune diagnosis is actually not as scary as I once thought it was. I'm not as stuck as I thought I was. I'm not as powerless as I thought I was. I'm not the problem child. And me and my body are actually a gift to myself, to others, and to the world. And the cool thing is, our clients here at Better Belly Therapies are learning the same things for themselves every day. How is this happening? Let me tell you. On today's episode, I'm going to share with you 5 reasons that your autoimmune diagnosis or chronic illness doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming, even if sometimes it feels like it is. Welcome to the Better Belly podcast, where we find freedom from food restrictions, we increase energy in our lives, and we begin to feel more healthy and vibrant than ever by finding the root causes of our health problems. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a marathon runner, functional medicine health coach, certified craniosacral therapist, gut health nerd, lover of Jesus, and owner of Better Belly Therapies, a clinic based in Ann Arbor, Michigan that works with both virtual and local clients to help them achieve the best health of their life. I am here to walk with you on your journey to a better belly and a better life. We're going to go beyond popping a probiotic and just checking out our poop. In this show, we are going to go deep into gut transformation strategies that last for your entire life. If you are ready to feel your best, get ready to roll. You are in the right place. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. So I want to start today's podcast off by saying, just first, a big disclaimer that as we're talking about, 5 reasons that autoimmune diagnoses and chronic illnesses don't have to be scary or overwhelming, I am by no means wanting to create any shame around feeling that way. First off, I think it's important to simply acknowledge, wow, some days we just need to sit in the feelings and say, I do feel that this is overwhelming. I do feel scared. I do feel miserable and upset or even angry that I have the body I have, or that I am the way I am, or that doctors don't know how to fix me. Sometimes we just need to sit in the feels. Sometimes we need to acknowledge and just allow ourselves to be hurting or in pain. So this podcast episode is not by any means saying you're not allowed to feel this way, or it's bad, or it's lesser even. We need to, emotions run the full gamut of our lives. And I don't think it's helpful for our bodies or our psyches or anything to shut them down. However, I really do feel this is for not necessarily shutting down negative emotions, but I often find when I both look at my own health journey, but also the health journey of our clients that we're working with, that there's often this point in their life where maybe they've spent time grieving and being angry and all this stuff that is natural with basically going through loss, and this loss of what your life could have been, or loss of your body's functionality, all these different forms of loss. Those are natural, but then there's I felt like no one really was talking about almost like this normalcy that comes that I was discovering with autoimmune conditions. Not normal as in everybody has it, but normal as in it actually fits into a larger framework of health conditions and the fact that, and like even the human condition. And I know that sounds like super, if it sounds like woo or philosophical or just like abstract, don't worry, I'm going to bring it down to like 5 specific points. But as our clients have been realizing this themselves, they find that even though they still have days where they're frustrated, or it doesn't make everything go away, that it's incredibly helpful and honestly encouraging to them when they realize these 5 things. And so I'm more so encouraging or want to inspire encouragement in you as you're listening today. I think that we can actually hold sadness and grief and encouragement in our hearts at the same time. So like you could be having a really crappy day physically or emotionally or what have you, like anything, maybe someone you know is going through something health related, like those can all be real. But then keeping these 5 things in mind, I find it doesn't have to X out all the pain, but it can help balance it and just realize that maybe it's not all bad, or maybe it's not all I don't know, unavoidable or where we're just stuck. So that's my caveat before this episode starts. And yeah, I'm just going to start it off. So 5 reasons why autoimmune diagnoses don't have to be scary or overwhelming. Number 1, this is something I actually have said to my clients a lot who have any type of problem that they'll keep asking me, like, why does this problem keep coming up? And I always say, everybody has an Achilles heel in their health. And so the Achilles heel is this like classic, I think Hercules. Gosh, I should have brushed up on my Greek mythology, but I think it's Hercules, is like super strong, super powerful, super invincible, but he's like been built in with this like one problem area that it's just like seems super lame, like the back of his heel. I think it's like, I love this story. Clearly not enough because I'm not sure if it's Hercules or not, but I like this concept that we can have be these superheroes and superhuman people, but we can still have this like one thing that bothers us. And I find that actually I end up telling my clients a lot, like, you are a superhero. Like you're being a mom, you're being a career woman, you're being a wife, you're being a daughter, you're being a student. Like there's all these roles that our clients have on top of their plate. And you're also being a sick person, which is a form of role that you're going through and you're managing and you're understanding what does this mean and how does it interact with all my other roles. And basically what I tell them is, okay, you have this autoimmune diagnosis, you have interstitial cystitis, or you have fibromyalgia, or you have whatever this thing is. And everybody has a different health problem. Like even the healthiest people, and I've, either interacted with them or you can even think about them, like your healthy friend, maybe they're not a health nut, but like they seem to not have too many health problems, but they might more than often than not, like they're going to have a sleep problem. If they have a health problem, it's in their sleep, or they're more likely they're going to get a headache or a migraine. like my dad's actually someone, like if he's going to have a health thing go on, it's going to be a headache or a migraine. And otherwise he's kind of happy, but I mean, that's his Achilles heel. So some people get stomach pain, other people it's like skin problems. Like they just know that every client of mine also they know that they have that one symptom that's going to pop up before any other symptom if they, just don't do something quite right, if they don't sleep quite right, or if they're extra stressed or strained, or if they get the flu, they just know that there's a certain symptom that's going to hit them probably first and before anything else. Some of them, it's their endometriosis and pelvic pain or a period problem, and that's just their thing. And actually autoimmune conditions kind of fall into that. It's like, look, this is your body's Achilles heel. When all the things are not lining up right in your body and in your life, and not say you have to have a perfect life, but when you have enough things out of place and out of sync, this is what your body's going to manifest. Well, the cool thing about an Achilles heel is if you actually address like all these weird things that can push you out of sync and out of whack, the Achilles heel is not necessarily going to manifest. And that's the same with any chronic illness or autoimmune diagnosis for the most part. And this is what I'm saying we see with our clients, what we've seen with ourselves, even for people who've been sick for decades. And so this is one of the cool things is I just normalize it. And I've said, and I realized this myself of like, wow, I had a roommate who was really I didn't have too many health complaints, but if she had a health complaint, it was her low back. And it's just so funny where Emily, it would really bother her. It would kind of mess with her sleep and make it hard for her to relax. And it's not to say she shouldn't try to figure out, why does my low back hurt so frequently? If something goes wrong, why is it my low back? Sure, she can go to the chiropractor, she can go to the PT, she can do exercises. It's not to say just don't try anything, but just realize in the scope of things, it's just one way that, an autoimmune condition is basically your immune system flaring up when conditions aren't right. And you can actually keep that from flaring up, and that's called remission. So number one, just realizing, like, framework, everybody has an Achilles heel. Yours has a diagnosis attached to it. That kind of normalizes it. That helped me. I hope it helps you. It definitely has helped some of our clients as they think about their health. Number two, a second reason that autoimmune diagnoses don't have to be scary or overwhelming is autoimmune conditions are much more like a warning system than they are a system designed to hurt you. This is another thing that I find is a mindset that our clients come in with, which is, my body is trying to hurt me. It's trying to hijack my life. It's trying to make me miserable. And it's thwarting me at every step that I take. Now that can be a real felt experience. Like, you can really feel that that's what's going on. And not to say that that is not how it feels. However, autoimmune systems, when autoimmune conditions, they're based off of your autoimmune system, your immune system, and your immune system is either happy or it's not, kind of. And there should be more margin, but for people with an autoimmune condition, there might be a smaller margin where, like, there's the happy range and then there is the immediately not happy range. Now, this is a lot more like the body saying, hey, I need help here, than it is, I'm trying to attack you. And unfortunately, one of the reasons I think that this mindset's hard to maintain, or something that we don't really think of this way very frequently, is because in the conventional care system, the more common approach to an autoimmune condition is like, let's kill it, let's suppress it, it's evil, it's harming you. And while there can be medications that it's appropriate to take to, sort of keep the immune system calmed down, that's actually taking this approach that your body's somehow inherently broken. And what I've seen, the truth of what I've seen repeatedly in our clients and in my own life, is when you actually address everything rather than just throwing a medication and suppressing the body and like, it's the problem, it's the villain. You say, well, what can I do to support it? What is going on? Maybe even things that are not obvious. Like, maybe it's not obvious when you eat gluten that your rheumatoid arthritis flares up, but maybe that is something going on, right? When you explore all those options of food sensitivities and pathogens and other things that are what we call hidden, invisible stressors, when you explore them and then get rid of them, a lot of our clients can get off of their, immunosuppressive medications. They might keep them on back hold, like realizing this might be something that'll be relevant if I go through a particularly stressful season or something happens. But their autoimmune condition is more just a very sensitive alarm system. It can be annoying for sure, but it's an alarm system just like someone saying, hey, a robber's in here. That alarm system is loud. We just got a new alarm system. It's loud. We've triggered it accidentally ourselves. It's loud. It can be scary. It can be like, what's going on? It can be really disorienting. But however, the alarm system's not designed to hurt you. It's actually designed to help you. And that's a really, really helpful perspective that I've seen. Is actually, it's not just a perspective like a well wish, it's a perspective like a reality, that when you treat these symptoms of your autoimmune condition or your chronic illness as a warning system, you actually find that you kind of you have this like early indication of, hey, in the case of like a robber, hey, someone's in here, and that can actually save you maybe from loss and theft and all this other stuff. So it can be kind of like a good thing and a healthy thing. Putting your hand over a fire, you get pain, and that's a warning system like, hey, this is not good for this part of your body. Maybe pull back. Really, it's the same with an autoimmune condition. That's all that's happening. It's just exaggerated and is maybe not something that everyone's experiencing. Number three, third reason why autoimmune diagnoses don't have to be scary or overwhelming is that autoimmune conditions can be put into remission. And I've already alluded to this with the other two, but you can live in remission of an autoimmune condition, and that makes you feel relatively normal. And that is the case. And you get into remission when you find all the little things that are causing the irritations. And that could be chemicals like parabens and phthalates in plastics or in scent, like fake scents, just like really evaluating your environment. And kind of the funny, annoying thing about looking at things like environmental chemicals and toxins or heavy metal that might be in your body or pathogens. It's just the fact that not everyone's having to do it. But here's the big thing. Just because everybody else isn't having an autoimmune condition does not mean they're not being equally negatively affected by all these environmental toxins. It just means that they don't know it yet. They might know it when they're 60. They might pass it down to their children when they give birth because these toxins are floating around. And then their children will have, I think that's one of the things that researchers are wondering is that why we're seeing a rise in childhood diseases, childhood diagnoses, childhood cancers? Why are children getting sick when we think, oh, they're young, why they should be born with this perfect situation? It's like because they're born of somebody else's body that has toxins going on in it. And when they're young, when you're a fetus or when you're a child, you don't have as thorough of a detoxification system. And so when you have an autoimmune condition, you're just sensitive. However, you can use that sensitivity as a superpower to then locate and say, no, let's not just suppress it and numb this problem and forget it or just wish I didn't have it. But let's actually say, my body's giving me a really beautiful, unique warning system. We're going to find what's specifically going on. I'm going to partner with other healthcare providers who are trained in what to look for and to look deeply for certain things, not just, slap a medication on it. Again, knowing that medication can be very helpful or life-saving or just pain reducing, but you want to say, let's put into remission, and then you can live a normal life. And we are seeing our clients consistently, either during our time work with us or like towards the end, they'll go into remission, and then we've kept in track and kept in touch with several of them, and they'll be in remission for a year or 2 years. They'll have, for example, one thing that we've had several of our clients who have autoimmune conditions, they'll track their flare-ups, and they'll say, prior to working with you, I'd get a flare-up 1 to 2 times a month, and it would last so many days and it would be this intense. And then after working with us, they'd say, well, I had a flare up last year. I had 2 flare-ups last year and they were half as long as, they usually are, and they weren't very intense. And I knew what to do about them to help the flare go down. And that takes all that scare and scariness, fear, overwhelm, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm broken. I can't be fixed, and just takes it out and says, no, you are beautiful. Your body works. It's actually working the way it's intended to. It's responding to toxins the way it's intended to. It's responding to it in a slightly intense way with an autoimmune condition, but there is a sense where you can create the safe haven for the body. You can definitely reduce triggers, reduce toxins that are keeping your body at this heightened alert stage. And so if you can find and systematically address root causes of autoimmune flares, such as pathogens, mineral imbalance, liver congestion, hormone imbalance, etc., then there is no reason for the autoimmune condition to be in a flare frequently, not always, but frequently. Autoimmune conditions. So number 4, autoimmune conditions simply require care, just like anything else in this world. So can you get away with fewer things, and still without noticing symptoms? Probably. Like your friends can stay up later than you, potentially drink more alcohol than you, eat more inflammatory foods, whether that's sugar or gluten or whatever, and they'll feel something, or they might not feel too much. They might not notice feeling that way, but that doesn't mean that they're not being harmed. I know I kind of already said that. For you, you're not broken. You're not unfixable. You actually just need to figure out what your body needs for care. And so honestly, the hardest part about this specific problem is that you need to figure out what your body needs. And this is the biggest part of the process, where if you have an autoimmune condition, for example, maybe your parents didn't have it, or they didn't learn how to take care of it, or and on top of that, your doctor gives you some solutions for your autoimmune condition, but then tells you, yeah, you're going to have this the rest of your life. Just deal with it. You're like, that's depressing. And so you have to do a lot of the legwork yourself on finding what your body needs and can thrive on. And, our clients, they're reading books, they're going to blogs, they're working with a lot of like alternative health practitioners who are really looking outside the box. Again, for the hospital system, their goal is to keep you alive, but not necessarily healthy. So they can give you a medication that keeps you alive, and the insurance will cover that, but they're not necessarily going to cover insurance where you actually want to figure out all these small little things that are adding into your autoimmune condition, and it's how many flare-ups you have and how severe it is. And so that's honestly what I find is the hardest part. The loneliness factor and the difficulty of finding your solutions for your body, being kind of dismissed and shut down and even told we can't do anything for you. That is often what I find is the hardest part of having this autoimmune condition, because your friends who don't have it, who don't have a chronic illness, they're not having to constantly get shut down or devalidated or anything, let alone go through the pain of the illness. But once you do find, if you advocate and you go through that journey and you find practitioners to partner with and you find your solutions, you find that you are most definitely not alone. There are answers. The journey and the effort is worth it because you can feel better and you're not stuck. You're not the problem child. Your body is beautiful. And that leads us to our fifth point, which is autoimmune conditions can be like a superpower. I really do believe this. And I say this as somebody who has had chronic illness, who I would consider myself kind of in a, remission type stage, but I don't have things like flared up in my body currently. And part of that is this superpower of your body is you are hyper tuned into your body. You can't ignore it and numb it out like we do in our world. We ignore and numb out with like sugar and with busyness and workaholism and having successes and Netflix binging. And we still might do that with an autoimmune condition, but you also know if you ignore your body long enough, it will ruin your day. It will ruin your week. It will ruin your trip. You can't ignore it and numb it out. And that's one of the things that you can be very frustrated by, like, oh man, if only I could get a break basically from this constant vigilance. However, one part of the superpowers is it does give you very easy to read signals of when something not good has happened. You can appreciate your body more when it's working well because you understand what it takes to get it there. You are inherently incentivized to do helpful, good things for your body. You don't need any extra motivation. Feeling good is motivation enough for you to say, yeah, I guess if I eat gluten, it didn't make me feel that great. Or yeah, I guess if I ate dairy, or if I don't sleep enough, or if I overextend myself or say yes to too many things, don't hold up my boundaries, whatever these things are, you realize, oh, this is not, I do get symptoms. And so your condition doesn't have to become an excuse like, oh, I can't do anything. It becomes an enabler, an empowerer. It empowers you to hold boundaries. It empowers you to find solutions because you feel good when you do A, but you do not feel good when you do B. And so a lot of our clients, that's what they find along the way. They start off feeling stuck. They start off feeling like the problem child, like the problem husband or wife, or they start off feeling like, we actually get some clients who are apologetic to us, or we'll even say like, are you ready for me? I don't know if you can handle me. I'm going to be the hardest case you ever had. We've actually had several clients say that, which I find amusing at this point of like, y'all need to, not all of our clients connect, but some of them do. And sometimes I think you guys just need to get together and talk about how you feel like you're the hardest just because It's amusing. But yeah, like you can feel like I'm going to be the hardest person for this practitioner to work with. And there can even be a guilt of like, I'm not going to be easy, or I'm going to frustrate this person, or whatever it is. And honestly, I think if you're working with the right clinic or the right practitioner, they're going to have the skills to deal with what you have going on. They're going to be energized by it. I know I love a challenge, and I love a challenge. Like I don't indiscriminately take on challenges for our clinic that we are not equipped to handle, that, we don't deal with cancer or post-cancer, healing. We focus on gut, hormones, autoimmune conditions. We really, really are good at those things. And I mean, which covers a lot of common problems. But the fact is that you want to work with somebody who isn't ashamed or isn't frustrated or doesn't want you to be easy. A lot of our clients, I'd say it's easy just because we're equipped. We know what's going on. We're familiar with certain patterns. So it doesn't bother us. We're like, yeah, come in with your rheumatoid arthritis and your endometriosis and your fibromyalgia and your Crohn's disease and your ulcerative colitis and your Hashimoto's, et cetera, and your interstitial cystitis and all these things. It's not a problem. We're not afraid. We understand how autoimmune conditions work, and they can be toned down and healed and put into remission just like anything else, whether it's IBS, which is not technically an autoimmune condition, so all these things that are not autoimmune conditions, they can be helped as well. So, these 5 things are things I just find myself telling my clients in our coaching calls. Any of our clients who have any form of chronic illness, I continually hear myself saying, like, actually your condition's more like a superpower, and this is really just care, and your body is giving you really helpful signals. And even if your husband, doesn't understand everything, you can just say, my body's different. It's more sensitive, but not like, oh, you're more sensitive. It's like, no. I'm more sensitive. Like, I can see farther than you. My eyes are more sensitive. My ears are more sensitive. I can hear higher pitches than you, or lower or quieter, like, that's not bad. Technically, in like the real world, it's good to have stronger senses, because you can use those to detect things that are invisible, whether it's a UV light or heat or whatever it is. So we have superpowers. We with whose bodies are prone to illness, whether it's chronic illness or autoimmune conditions, we are connected to our bodies and our environments. We bring to this world and remind this world that we can be more connected. Not just we, but like all of us, like the world, they can be more connected, more healthy, more vibrant than they thought they could be by learning to listen to their body and take actions that support it. We're advocates of this world, and that can be really hard. One of the other things that I honestly don't bring into the podcast, I don't think I've ever brought into the podcast, but one of the things I was thinking about with this particular podcast episode and being advocates in the world, is I'm very passionate about and very engaged in and working in racial reconciliation and inequality. And it's just a topic I'm very interested in. I live in Detroit. I moved to Detroit to become part of the revitalization of the city. And being an advocate is hard. Like, not everyone gets you. There can be like a lot of just tension going on. Family members might not understand whatever it is that's going on. And so it can be hard to be an advocate for your own body, or for just a healthy, a lot of people with health issues become an advocate for organic foods, or become an advocate for local foods, or an advocate for non-toxic, cleaning products. And people can kind of be like, well, why are you doing that? I just want to keep, all my normal brands and products. Why do you want to use all these other things that are like scentless or something? Can't I keep my scented candles? And so it can be hard to be an advocate, but it's worth it, because we're bringing light, we're bringing awareness into the world, and it's not meaningless for you to be sick and to go through what you do in your bodies, what you're going through in your body. Another thing that I really also see as far as the superpower and how our bodies and our sensitivity in our bodies changes the world is that and for many of our clients, I know that they have inspired or encouraged at least one other person because of their health journey. So like, there's somebody else in their life who either has some other health problems, and they're like, that person now is like, oh, you mean I'm not stuck? And then you tell your story, and you're like, that person's like, oh my gosh, I can get better. This is a real thing, right? Or maybe you've been encouraged by somebody else's health story. Maybe it's a coworker or a family member or a podcast. Maybe it's this podcast, but you're like, oh, I'm not stuck. I'm not alone. I'm being helped. And there were times, very dark hours in my life, like literally dark hours, like 2 a.m., where I was in pain. I was asking God, why am I going through this? What is going on? How do I get out? Am I able to ever get out? Am I just stuck this way? Is this just like the best my life's ever going to get? What is going on? And looking back now and seeing people that I've encouraged. I mean, I run a business, so we have like, we're actually helping healing people, but even before the business existed, other people saying, oh, that's so interesting. I have IBS too. Tell me what's helped you or what's different that you're doing. And the same thing is happening with our clients. I've seen mothers and daughters find freedom together as the daughter would heal her body and then tell her mother, who has the same symptoms and same problems that she inherited from, here's what I'm doing. And then the mother finds freedom and realizes that she doesn't have to sit in darkness anymore. She doesn't have to be stuck with all of her health problems and symptoms and feeling like she's just weak or whatever, all the things that we can feel when we're sick. There is so much hope in the autoimmune and chronic illness journey. And honestly, I bet that if you're listening right now, you can either think of at least one person who's inspired you because of how they approach their health journey, or you've inspired at least one other person. But all that to say, autoimmune diagnoses are not a life sentence. They are a life guide. Honestly, they guide you. They can guide and lead you to bigger and better places, even in the midst of confusion, pain, and not knowing where to go next. You are not stuck. And I think I've said that at least in the last 3 podcast episodes. It's just the resounding thing that I want you to all know. And I want our clients to know. And I'm saying to them, like, you are not stuck. There are answers out there. There are people who've written books and struggled in their health, and not just like not just average people, not just somebody, sitting, going to school or sitting in an apartment or nursing their child, but doctors even, they're getting sick and they're writing books and they're figuring out why is our health system not the way it is. And so, or why is our health system not covering all the issues that there are? And so that's actually one of the reasons that we created the Foundations 2022 program. I know that I mentioned this. I said, I've created a business because I said there was no solution out there for me. There was nothing. I literally could find nothing. I had to scrap every single piece and jot and detail of how I was going to heal myself, and every access to every lab I ever took. I had to figure it out myself, which was just really miserably like piecemeal and slow and frustrating, and definitely made mistakes along the way that resulted in like, oh, I could have saved money if I did something that way. I could have saved time, or I could have felt better faster. And we created the Foundations 2022 program for women in the US and Canada who want to heal their bodies, get back their health, and get back their life and energy, and honestly just feel like themselves again. Or for some of you, maybe it's feel better than you have ever felt in your life or ever remember feeling. The Foundations 2022 program is a 12-month program designed to completely heal you of your gut health problems, hormone problems, and autoimmune conditions. It is 12 months. If you're curious why it's 12 months, is because we are dedicated to helping our clients go from A to Z healing, not just to heal temporarily or to address a couple things, but by the end of their time working with us, they are no longer relying on severe food restrictions, multiple supplements, and lots of just lifestyle strategy coping methods, such as having to work very few hours or not go outside or whatever it is, that their life is actually more expanded and bigger, and they're still able to be healthy. Basically, we want your body to maintain its own health, and that we have found has been taking our clients an average of 12 months. If you want to learn more specifically on the 12-month process, you can listen to episode 78, How Long Should It Take Me to Heal? And you can learn more about the 12-month process and what we do through every chunk of time, every 3 months in that 12-month process. But The Foundations 2022 program, it's 12 months, and our clients who've gone through this program have healed themselves of fibromyalgia, endometriosis, IBS, Crohn's disease, irregular and painful periods, eczema, insomnia, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, food sensitivities, and more. Our program includes 4 foundational functional labs to test your gut, pathogens, mineral balance, food sensitivities, and hormones. These are all these things that we're finding are underlying causes of these autoimmune flares and chronic health problems that are not being looked at or looked for in the conventional health system. They're also really not being looked at often by even functional and integrative doctors and nutritionists and all those things. And so we really created something that I don't know where else that people are doing it, that where we're looking at so many things all at once and getting quick, deep, long-lasting results. On top of that, you get a fully customized health plan designed specifically for you. You get 12 monthly one-to-one coaching calls with our team's expert functional health coach to help keep you on track and make sure just that you are doing all the right and relevant things in your health to get the results that we are looking for and that you are looking for. You get 12 monthly group training calls with me where we do extra training with you on, so you're not just like doing things because someone said it was a good idea, but you're actually understanding your body more by the end of your work with us. And you get 12 monthly laser coaching calls with me where you get just additional coaching time and you can listen to other people's questions and really connect. You also get to join our members only Facebook group where you get extra access to our coach and our staff and admin team where you can get support, get questions answered, meet other members of ours and just see and be encouraged by the community of women who are choosing their health. They're tackling their health and they've gone through processes, and you can spur one another on and give each other insight and advice and encouragement as you're going through your healing process. So if you are ready to end your gut health problems, end your autoimmune flares, get your energy back and feel like yourself again, then I want to invite you to apply for our onboarding call for our program. This application is going to be a link in the show notes. It's going to take you to our qualifying form where you're going to fill out a bunch of information, and it's basically everything that we need to be able to understand, hey, can we help you? Because as much as you don't want to be in a program that doesn't work for you, we don't want to be having people in our program that we can't help or that we're just going to be spinning our wheels with, right? And so we have you fill out that form, and if we can help you, then we will accept your call. You'll get onto an onboarding call with our staff team, and you'll be able to join our program. By the way, just to let you know, we want to make this affordable for all our clients. So we do have a payment plan prior to your call. If you do qualify for the program, you'll receive more information on the program's, investment. I will say it is an investment. Like your body, it's an investment. You only get one body. You only get one life, right? You can get another house. You can get another car. Those are the 2 other most valuable things you're ever going to own in your life. As far as like big ticket, crazy, like expensive. House and a car, well, your body, you can't replace it. You can't even replace it, unlike even just a house or a car. And so this is an investment, but we have created this system so that you can get healthiest, the fastest, deepest, and most long-lasting way, feel like yourself again, get your energy back, and honestly, just stop spinning your wheels, stop feeling frustrated, stop being confused or just trying stuff and searching blogs and just wondering what you need to do. You don't need to wonder anymore. You can test, not guess, and you can get a customized plan that's tailored to you and what's going on in your body so that you get solutions. I am so excited, and we are currently accepting new clients. So you can apply today for the Foundations 2022 program. And if you are a good fit, then you will be scheduled for a 30-minute free onboarding call where you get to meet our team and join the program ASAP. No waiting, no wait list, no doctor, wait list or anything like that. You can join right away and start getting answers ASAP. Okay, well, I hope that today's podcast episode just gave you some extra insight and another perspective on how to think about autoimmune conditions and chronic illnesses. They are not inherently designed to be hurtful, but they can actually be a superpower. Yes, a superpower. And so I hope that some of today's podcast gave you insight and thoughts that you've never maybe considered before. Well, if you love this episode, just to encourage you, we have so much more coming down the line. Subscribe so you never miss a beat. And if you have not shared this with a friend yet, if you've thought of someone as you listen to this podcast, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a coworker, I would encourage you, take a screenshot and share this with a friend and tell them, hey, I listened to this and I thought about you and I hope it encourages you today. So send that friend a love note to their gut and do us a favor and pass this podcast along to them. Other ways that you can support us is by leaving a rating and review on our Apple iTunes podcast. You can either click the link in the show notes where we even just send you straight to Apple iTunes where you can leave a review, or you can, in your app, if you're already in it, go down to the bottom of our main page and just leave a rating and review. It helps other people just like you to find this podcast, find hope, find answers, find something new that they've never heard before. So if you have appreciated our podcast at all, I would invite you to go and share and leave a review there. It would mean so much. And if you want to further connect with us, you can check us out by going to Instagram and Facebook. Our handle is @BetterBellyTherapies. We would love to connect with you there. We have more posts there and just hear how we can support you, hear what you're interested in learning more about in your health. And just as a way to sign off, our motto: miracles are immediate, but healing takes time.